What's breaking news of Tanya Burns here?
Yeah,
She always got some breaking news. Are we on? Well, all right.
let me
Let me see.
share.
Like, what before we start? Let me. It hasn't come up yet on my page, Mickey. So as soon as it comes up, I'm going to share this. All right. Let me share that. And let me say thank you all for tuning in today to 810 Breaking News. And you know we have some breaking news because you see who I'm here with. Council what? Councilwoman Tanya Burns. And we come to you for news. We really do because you know what? It's a shame. It's a shame that let me go to this article, Tanya. It's
Oh,
a shame that we have to, but it's a wonderful thing
it
that
was real
outside
journalism.
media has to come in and tell us a true story
You're
about
correct.
what's going on in the city of Flint. And we've got local media all around us, and they're not reporting what is going on in the city of Flint. So I'm going to pull that one up because it was an article. It came out, Scripps News investigates. And that's what we talk about when we say investigative reporting. And let me just say thank you for coming today because I know you've been busy doing the work of the people. We appreciate you. We appreciate your service.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you being my councilwoman. Oh, that's right. You're not, but I act like you
Yeah,
are. But
by default.
by
By
default,
default.
I do. I appreciate that.
Wow.
And a lot of residents around the city look to you for guidance, direction. What can we do, and can you help me?
There's a lot of help that the community needs.
There's a lot of help that the
There's a lot.
community needs, and we've been together all day. I mean, there's a lot going
There's a
on in the
lot.
city.
Literally, this is our third
Our third time,
today, and we're not even 2 o'clock yet.
right, right.
So
And I'm going to tell you, I called Councilwoman Burns because I don't know if you all have seen this, but it's on your page, isn't it? This article.
it is on my page, and the scripts about the water.
It says records missing, phones out, Flint water crisis not over. Well, hello, we know that.
Exactly.
And they're bold enough to put it in print, and we appreciate them for doing that.
It was real journalism, and what I look for is integrity in
Mhm.
journalism and
Mhm.
a factual story. And the good part is when I spoke with her name is
Carrie.
Cochran, yeah, and she said we're not done because Flint's not done, and she says, you know what? She says we're going to be back. She's spoken with her higher ups, her bosses, and said because Flint is a story to be told.
You know what? Now, what did I always say when I was in office? Pay attention to
Attention,
Flint.
pay attention
I
to
said
Flint.
Flint needs to stay in the national spotlight.
Absolutely,
People have wanted to take us out, and have
they have.
they have, but we're coming back.
The water crisis has disappeared underneath this past administration, and the people have been forgotten about,
Mhm.
and the people have been lied to
Ooh,
consistently.
and consistently, and
Consistently.
that's been the problem. So this article comes out. You're quoted in this article.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
that one.
Eh,
Oh.
now look, I talked to them. But one of the things and I'll tell you what she was saying to me, and I referred her to some people because I
Mhm.
said, you don't have to take it from me. I'll give
Right.
you some names. You
Right.
can talk to these people. But one of the questions I got asked and was about we haven't finished the water pipe replacement.
No.
This is the fourth year of this current administration being in office.
Correct.
We were 85, 90%
90.
done. 90. Thank you.
90.
Cause and it still hasn't been
It's still
completed.
it's still 90 with some excuses. And what happened is the numbers haven't been nailed down. I do know because I'm very active. I
Hmm.
had residents who were still living with 22 parts per billion with their home, that their water lines were just, their service line was just changed. Um, was it last fall? And I actually went out to it. So a lot of this is, there's no transparency. I still have one of the ladies in this story, Hadia, she's in the sixth ward also. Her service line, they called her the next day um, after. She's been trying to get in touch with them. I know that Michelle Young, hers has not been changed or even checked. And so when we look at, how they keep moving the goal, and they don't know. They said we had 2,000 restorations before, then it said 2,500, then it was 6,000, then it was
Okay,
8,500,
so
then it
let me
said,
tell you
I
some
don't
of the
know.
excuses. These are the excuses because when I talked to Carrie, she said one of the things they said was they didn't have any records
Correct.
and they didn't know what to do. I said, well, that's not true. I said, when I got in office, we didn't have records. Things were on index cards. We got records put in place. How can you be a year ahead of schedule? Is what I said to this reporter. How could we have been a year ahead of schedule if we didn't know where to go?
Well, I think a big problem is too when we talk about the talent that
Mm-hmm.
Flint has lost since you were mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had your DPW director was
Right.
Rob Benzik.
That's one of the people I told her to go talk
Hmm.
with.
I did too.
I said, talk
Yeah.
with them.
And he kept everything on target. I almost say under budget. He didn't allow like all the change orders. And so what happened was Rob Benzik had he was still with the city. He left the city. He left because there was a $36,000 capacity building grant that they were not Mayor Neely was not giving back to him. So he went to work at Swartz Creek. It didn't he would lose in his retirement. And it didn't cost the taxpayers anything. You know, it was adding that 36,000 to pay him. DPW, I believe, is our biggest department in the city of Flint.
Okay, I'm gonna give you excuse another one. There were no contractors. I said, I said, AECOM was still there when I left. They left under his dime.
Yeah, yeah.
So AECOM was there. So to say there were no contractors.
It's it's not true. And the part as we learn, we grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you put in a situation where you need to see something to dispel it. W.T. Stevens, which was the first black company
Mm-hmm.
to receive a multi-million-dollar contract, and they had the contract. They are still owed almost $1 million by the city of Flint.
Pay W.T.
Yeah,
Stevens.
yeah. Look, give them their
Give them
money.
their
Give them
money.
their money.
And we haven't
You know,
heard about that in the news either.
you're correct, but they have not been paid, and not just that, they were ostracized from, um, and personally
They brought
attacked.
that up. I said, if they did such a poor job, guess who's doing the job?
Now I went to the site to see, and I put
Tell
it
it.
on video
Tell it.
because so I get
They were accused of all
they
kinds of
were accused of
things
all types of things.
that weren't true.
Right, that they were breaking pipes, but there were no it was normal. If you're going to have
Right.
certain than Lang and any of the other companies, there were no more issues than the other ones. And as a matter of fact, they had trained, I believe, Lang to do service line
They had.
replacements in some of the other companies.
They had.
So I
I'm gonna
went
go
to the
to the
site,
article.
one of the site, it was in my
Mm-hmm.
ward, and who was changing the pipes? It was W.T. Stevens changing the service line. Now, what had happened was, I believe, the day before, Mayor Neely came with the news, and he was talking to them. He said, "Oh, what's your name? What's your name?" Oh, well, no, your last name's Stevens. He didn't want anyone with the last name Stevens because it's a family-owned company.
Right.
Their father started in the
That's right.
50s when we had did the interview with
Mm-hmm.
them. And he didn't want to acknowledge that this was the group that he had said was the company that was so horrible that was the company that was there
That's
taking care of
saving our
that's
behinds today.
saving.
Trying to.
That's correct because we missed three deadlines.
That's what I was going to say.
The
So
money was
right.
mismanaged.
This says in this article. This came out
The Monday.
Monday.
I forget my days. They run
Me
together.
too. But they just said that in let's see, where is it? Just this past Friday, a federal judge determined the city is violated and is violating the settlement agreement to remove the threat of lead from home areas. Citing the city's mismanagement of the program, U.S. District Court Judge David Lawson concluded the city, and this is in quotes, has not done what it has promised to do. It has not done what it has promised to do. What you say?
Well, the city hasn't, and it makes it difficult because we lost our DPW director, who was like the project manager.
Right.
His job was a lot to do for actually the small amount of his pay, to be honest, because he's really charged with our water quality, running, that water plant, the service line. He did a lot. So he quit. and went to another community,
Right.
which we're happy to take them. We had no DPW director for 6 months until I raised the questions about the bacteriological test.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of people, Tanya,
Well,
Councilwoman.
we
But
don't.
in a city that's had their water poisoned,
We should
to
have.
not have somebody over the water,
Well, we don't
that's
have a deep.
inexcusable.
And you're correct. And we don't have. So we didn't have one. The city administrator did that job for about 6 months.
Stop. Okay. Stop.
Well,
You know what?
it,
Okay, so I'm gonna tell my age because I used to watch this show called Petticoat Junction.
it still
And
comes
it
on.
was what was his name? Sam Drucker.
Drucker,
And he stood behind that counter. If you needed the fire chief, he pulled a hat out and put the
fire
fire
chief
chief.
on.
If you needed the post marshal, he pulled that hat on. You know, whatever you needed.
He pulled that.
Sam Drucker was the face of it.
And that's what it's turned out, with the city of Flint. So we did end up getting one after. See, Flint had not had even a boiled water advisory. Flint has only had one boiled water advisory issued since you've been out of office.
And you know that's dangerous.
It's very
because
dangerous.
People don't know you have to change your filters after that.
Yeah, not just that. We average about 250 water main breaks a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had not had but one boil water advisory. And it's not just me following this. There are people who are watching and concerned in the community. They don't even all live in our community.
That's why you use the emergency alert system.
No, you use that for Easter egg hunts.
You don't use it for Easter egg hunts.
Yeah,
you use it to alert people about things that are important, that impact their lives in the community. But this is what your mayor said as to why almost 4 years after we were 90% complete. He said, we will not, he told the truth here. That's a first. We will not rush through this process. Well, you didn't, and you haven't. Just to say we got it done. Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely told Scripps News. That's what he said, that y'all not going to rush through it, Tanya. Well, why not?
Here, and let me go back to, we did get a new DPW director, and the process is going to be slowed, I feel, even further. Mike Brown came. Mike Brown presented at the trash hearings that he felt he worked in a hostile work environment because the mayor had yelled at him and it instructed him to shred the trash contract and to get it off of the CFO's desk, Shelby Freyer. So Mike Brown retired. We're now into the phase where it's they're back changing service lines, should be. We have no DPW director again. So now the city administrator for the second time is the DPW director. And that's a problem because he has no training in that. That's not his profession. It's not, he has no
What's
licensing.
his degree in?
I have no idea.
But he has one.
Yeah, he does. I know he was in accounting.
Right. I'm just saying he didn't lie.
No, but he keeps asking for $50,000 raises.
Right.
But he's doing like 10 jobs though.
So Neely said, this is the article, not me.
And the Scripps
article. Neely said he was plagued by poor record keeping from the previous administration, which is not true. He also said the pandemic contributed to the second missed deadline. Scripps News asked him about the most recent court-ordered deadline his administration agreed to, but then missed last September. He said deadlines were set and deadlines were missed. I admit to that. Some could be contributed to me and some could be contributed to other pieces.
Well, here's the thing. If he had no records, you go to the state.
Well, what happened to the records? Those got shredded too? Because the records were there. I mean, no, really. What happened to records? There were records there. At first, and for him to say that is just a blatant lie. And thank you, 810 News Media, for bringing this to us as well. Because, you have to create your own platform to get information
you do.
out.
Well, with the records, and let's dispel his lies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there were none, we're in the state of the digital age. Everything's on computer. So that's a lie. That's a lie. So even if every computer and every backup was lost, which we have an IT department at the city of Flint, you go to the state of Michigan, because for everything that service line that the city turned in, the state reimbursed them. You can cross-reference those. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to figure out. And so when we look at how and what has happened, um, we can take what the judge said. It was a mismanaged funds, and 3 deadlines missed. And Judge Lawson was very stern about that.
As he
Very
should
stern
be.
because Jackson, Mississippi has completed theirs, Benton Harbor has completed theirs, and Flint, who had their water crisis ahead of
And,
everyone
and
else.
and was the fastest water line replacement in the country.
Correct. And ours aren't done. And there are people in my ward who are still saying, "Hey, when are they going to, change my service line? Hey, when am I going to get my driveway,
Fixed.
fixed where they tore it
Well,
up?
we're
Where am I
mhm.
getting my sidewalk? When are they going to restore my grass? We don't have. Well, this was one of the things our DPW director, Mike Brown, before he retired, and he was quoted in the article. He said, even if I had the people, which I don't have
I'm
the
gonna find your
money.
quotes in here.
Said I don't have the money to do it.
Okay, so Tanya, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Burns.
I know because we friends. We so you just
I know it.
right.
Councilwoman Burns. He said he found 24 million or something that we knew wasn't found. It was already
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But what happened to the money?
We that's a good question. When we did not have a DPO, we had a lot of change orders. And so I believe the contractors and the companies took advantage of the city because they knew that we did not have a DPW director who wasn't skilled. That is not his area of expertise. So when you have someone running an area and a department that is not your expertise, you're going to have issues. He's now running that department again. It is not the city administrator's area of expertise. He has zero skills in that department, and you're playing with people's lives. This is water quality.
Right.
There's lead in the water.
There's
and
lead
more,
in the water and more.
more.
And Flint deserves better. It says Neely said, I'm reading the article. Neely said pinning down the numbers was difficult given the variables in the project. He said it's a moving target, y'all.
No, it's not moving. It's still at 90%. That target is not moving.
Well, that 90% is from when I was there.
Right.
So now come on.
Yeah, it's moving at a slow pace. And then on top of that, you're looking at lead levels have started to rise since 2021. So something's going on with the lead levels in the home. We were on a trajectory to where they were dropping. They are now they're rising.
So
and that's in the article with
scripts. Okay, then he said it's very important to this administration to make sure that the life, health, and welfare of every resident inside the community is taken care of, he said. We're going to stick with the number of more than 90% has been complete. Yeah, because we are okay, and we're finishing out the rest. When do Flint lives matter and this gets taken care of?
I think people have to hold their elected officials accountable. And
from cussing out pastors too. Go ahead.
Twice. And then somebody saying your
Second
mama.
Lord. Your mama.
Right. That was unbelievable.
Right.
I think that we have to start holding them accountable because this should have been done. Judge Lawson is infuriated. And we're not going to meet at the pace we're going this next deadline to be done by September.
You know what?
I don't see it happen. We have no DPW director
Let me find your quotes. I was going to find your quotes. But you know what it reminds me of? You said it won't be done by a certain time, just like the payments. We get a call saying that Flint residents will not receive any of the money from the settlement before the end of the year. Right. It will take until then. And so
this is the part I don't get. I mean,
talk to
you
me.
have elected officials who you live in Flint. You choose Flint, and they don't advocate for Flint. You were a great advocator, and I missed that boat at first. You were busy doing the work. That's why I don't know who voted for him in his last election, and his suspect.
Maybe we need to ask the police.
That part. When you look at there's a lot of suspect names. But I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get back to the water.
Go ahead.
When we talk about how they keep missing the mark, and kids they still have to drink the water, cook with the water, bathe in the water, and how do we keep missing the mark on human life?
He also said that people could call.
Well,
and tell them what happened when they called. Well, you all listen to this.
In the interview, he did tell them that you could call and that he's got the navigators And so the journalist went outside and called the number and it stated mailbox full. So when we talk about how we're failing on every level, if a resident is calling and they can't get in contact,
The
that's
number didn't
the
work.
number did not work. But he had just stated that the number worked in the interview. He just told,
See, that's what
and the journalist,
that's
the
what
joke,
investigative journalism is about. You don't take things at face
that's
value.
correct.
You research and
Right.
find out if it's true.
Right, because residents said that the number they weren't able to get in contact with anyone. That's why I give residents, in my ward, call me.
Right.
I post my city cell phone number.
I know I
Everybody,
just give your number out.
all right, everybody be
I just
calling.
give your number out. I'm gonna tell you. I had
I'm
a
so
card I was giving them. I said, I don't care where you live.
and
Huh.
I'm gonna answer my phone and help the people.
And so, okay, so here it is. It says, concerns. Okay, Flint Council member Tonya Burns. She said Public Works is the city's largest department, making up more than a third of all city employees. And since the crisis, she said it's clear just how important that department is to Flint. And now we have nobody over the department. There's no DPW director. I mean, okay, let me go on. You said just as residents cannot get answers, apparently, oh, you can't either. Elected
No,
officials cannot get them either. Burns said without a director, quarterly reports that are supposed to be given to council members aren't being turned in. And you went on to, this is a failure that could have been avoided, she said. Those service lines should have been done. And when I've been traveling around and when I go places, people they can't believe.
no, they look at you probably like you're crazy.
Right. That Flint's
not fixed. And Flint's not fixed. And when we look at it is a scary place to be because I literally have residents who are, I still use bottled water. And Hadia, who has a son his entire life, who is in my ward, her son has grown up on bottled water. Her service line was had not been changed. She tried calling. She contacted them. I don't get why is this not a priority? You want people to show up for you, but you don't show up for the people.
right.
And that's the problem. Then just to have someone, the journalist who came to, who said, you're not crazy.
Right. But she asked the question. She said, why hasn't the media, local media reported? This is the same question that Jordan Sheraton was asking. Why hasn't the local media reported this? So look at this. So it says Scripps News told Mayor Neely we had spoken to residents of 7 Flint homes, including McAuliffe, who said that they tried and failed to get city inspectors to examine their water pipelines, but he had a hard time believing that could be true. This is what he said in quotes. I can't accept that as a statement of fact, Neely said. If they're calling here, we have health navigators going door to door. City Hall is open every day. Our phone lines are active and operational. Not.
Now she's in my ward.
No, they're not.
The resident that he's saying that she, Hadia Makala, that's not true. It's very true. Her service line was not changed. And she's a very smart woman. And I'm quite sure she knows how to pick up a phone to dial. And so did the journalist who dialed.
Because it says the same day the mayor made that statement, residents alerted Scripps News that the city's Get Out the Lead phone number was not operational. Mm-hmm. She said, and this is the reporter, when we tried the line ourselves, we heard a recorded message saying the message box was full and hung up on them.
Yeah.
So you can't get a message to them. And
no.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let you talk because I'm just.
I mean, and the article was, and I'm not saying it was the article, it was the news report.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot packed into, I think they would start at 9 minutes and it was cut down to maybe 7. But you could talk about, residents in Flint have been living with it for 9 years and they see no relief. And it's frustrating to them that, our voices are not heard. And matter of fact, it shouldn't be heard. This is a order by a judge.
Right.
And so you shouldn't have to speak up about it. It should be done. It should have been completed.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been completed. I may give you COVID for maybe 1 year.
Right.
Because we didn't know what COVID was, but it's an outside job.
It's an outside job. And the other thing is let's say we took that year off.
W.T. Stevens was ready to work.
They were ready to work.
And they're working
and it
now.
doesn't take that long to get those pipes done. I mean,
No.
that was Benton Harbor got done in a year, and we had less than them to get done.
Right. But when pettiness takes over, and it was pure pettiness, because that contract set on that 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves down when you are in the mayor's office and you face it. And he stated that they would never get a contract as long as he was the mayor. He didn't care about the people.
Who? I mean, they who? W.T. Stevens?
W.T. Stevens.
Pay W.T. Stevens. Let me say that again.
They should be paid.
They should be paid.
And so when you talk about, I dislike this company for no apparent reason other than they supported you.
Right.
And you put the pettiness
But really,
over
they supported the
people's
community.
lives. Correct. But when you put pettiness over people's lives, you should not be in office. Those service lines could have and should have been changed and would have been changed if he had not put that contract on the shelf. And I'm telling the truth.
He put people's lives on the
shelf.
And that's what he
people
did.
Right. And he did. And people know. And I've been very transparent because I spoke up. You know, I worked for him. I got fired every day because I had integrity. And I didn't believe, number one, you didn't find the $24 million. Two, W.T. Stevens is a company. Give them their money.
Right.
You know, and I stood for what was right for the people. And I would do it again. You know, I do it without regret. And when we look at the fact that this could have been done, but because
could have and should have,
because of pettiness,
right?
And then he was doing
but he
interviews.
Got a speed bump in front of his house.
Well, there is a speed bump in front of his house. There is a speed bump.
They go fast down your street. How come you don't have one?
I've had 3 accidents on my street. Correct. You are correct. And let me tell you, you don't put yourself first. My sidewalks are the worst sidewalks, and I have 3 seniors who walk.
Yes, I've seen them.
Yep. Mrs. Parker,
yes,
retired.
I've seen them.
She's 93, I think.
Right.
And then Mr. and Mrs. Howe, and I forget the other neighbor's name, but they walk, and they're like, Tonya, my sidewalk goes like this. I said, I want to make sure I get residents taken care of first. You know, but this year, now we got to do something. You know, but you don't. When I saw that speed hump in front of, he did state that he didn't instruct them to do that. But that was out of ARPA money.
Our waters.
Yeah, that was out of ARPA money, which residents haven't gotten any of the ARPA money. And I do want to say this: we are having an ARPA meeting this Saturday in the Dome at behind City Hall at 12:00. We have requested to have the Ernst & Young, the compliance firm. We had requested someone from the city. He said, Mr. Edwards, the city administrator, said he will not have anyone from the city, and people need to be outraged. And then we asked for the 12-member committee to be there because we don't know who they are. They picked a person for the 6th ward. I didn't pick that person.
You're supposed to do that.
Exactly. And according to the charter, they're not even following the charter. And so, you know, no one says anything. And I hold our council accountable because we have equal, that's the checks and balance. So be there this Saturday. Flint hasn't given their residents 12:00.
Noon.
12 noon. Flint residents haven't been given anything besides that $300 campaign water credit he used. Saginaw did furnaces, they're doing roofs, and they have allocated their money.
You remember I said that when I was over African American Mayors Association. Those mayors had plans in place. They had met with their council. They had agreed on this is how we're moving forward, and they got started. That was, let's see.
That was 2020? When it started. And I think the first allocation was May 2021.
Yes.
And then the second one was 2022.
They had those plans in place. They were ready to move.
There's so much to fix here and so much to do. It's a once in a lifetime.
Exactly. This for something this big to happen and for this amount of money to come through,
right?
To be available to help improve the lives of the people, and for it to not go that way,
right?
You know, that's shameful.
I agree. But I think it's, you know, our council too. Our council is split, and people have that City Hall is for the people. You know, if you wonder what's happening with that $94 million, you need to come down there to find out.
$94 million anymore. I'm just saying.
Well, listen, one of those speed humps in front of the mayor's house came out of that ARPA money.
That's my point.
It did come out.
That's my point. It's not $94 million. We're going to look up if we ever get an accounting of it. What will it really be?
Well, and we look at
Who's the finance chair?
Judy Priestley. But you look at how many CFOs we've had too.
Look at the one you have now.
Well,
Where did Jamaica say they came from? What was the name of that place? Excuse me. What's the name of that place? You know. Come on, Winters, you know. Men at Work. What was the name of that place Jamaica said? Okay, it's a temp. No, it wasn't. No, that wasn't it. It was, but anyway, they came from a temporary agency is where your CF manpower. That's what Jamaica said. Jamaica said manpower, but they're from a temp agency.
And she was deputy. I didn't know her. I know Jen quit and Robert Whittigan, which they didn't allow. This council allowed Robert Whittigan to not answer questions, to be disrespectful, not give the reports that they needed. Now she came in underneath Robert Whittigan when Jen quit, and Jen was very, very good. And she came in. She did state she came from a temp agency. She did state she does not have any municipality experience.
Okay, you know what?
Which is a part of the
charter. They'd
charter.
have strung me up.
Yeah.
Now, no, I'm serious, Mickey. They'd have strung me up because they strung me up for nothing. And to have somebody over a city, your finances, come on, no municipal experience.
No, she doesn't have.
now.
And per our city charter,
You're supposed to.
at least 5 years.
Exactly. You're supposed to have that. That's a requirement.
Well, I'm looking at the council and I'm looking at some of the interactions that, yeah, but I'm looking at her interaction also with the council members. And some of them are, and it's not, people try to say, oh, it's just Councilman Mason. It's not.
No.
Because Councilman Murphy had twice, he didn't like her comments and he told her, and how he said he didn't appreciate how she was speaking to him. And so when we look at that, everything is rubber stamped. And we're not there to give the administration what they want. We're here to vet it. And we know that vetting is not a thing that they seem to do with that administration, especially with that child sexual predator that was hanging around.
Dang, I know. Oh, okay.
So
that you're right.
He should have never been around City Hall.
Never been around City Hall. In fact, let's just take it a step further. He shouldn't have been around City Hall. He shouldn't have been around kids.
Children.
And I remember when we had the basketball camp at Northwestern. I was doing it with W.T. Stevens, and so it was not appreciated that the two of us were having this basketball camp for kids. Who do you think came up there with the Neely stuff, with the popcorn, with his picture on it? A sexual predator was sent to a school where kids were in a basketball camp.
Now, here's the thing, and people, I believe in second chances, but this guy, Johnny D. Peters,
over 40 chances.
That's correct. He had over 40 chances. And then the fact, and it just angers me every time I think about
child
who is tested positive with HIV. He's given a
There's no
child
accountability.
HIV.
Given a child.
I don't have people in my circle who are sexual predators. I don't have that. They're not my friends. They're not in my core group. We don't have any values that are the same.
No.
And every time I think about that vile demon, it just ticks me off because he was taken advantage of. And then on his Instagram account, you don't take advantage of children. You don't do that. How do you have someone? I have not been able to watch all of them.
I saw it.
Because I get angry every time. Every time.
Well,
but I mean,
you have to value people. You have to care about people. And obviously we have people in place that don't, that put their personal interest over the health and well-being of a community.
Well, he was riding around in a truck with the Neely magnet with one of your big signs.
He was taking my
campaign
down.
Sign was in the back of it, and it's on video.
But they had the nerve to call the AG about on my sign. Re-elect.
Well, they also took out the sidewalks right before.
Exactly.
I mean, so
right.
I mean,
I want to bring up another untruth, and this is very minor, but it's the point that we get lied to by this administration over and over and over again. I saw it on the news, Channel 12. Come on, you all know better. Because what they said was he's making the garage so it's not open to the public or whatever he said. I said, it's never been open to the public. The public has never had access to the garage And not all employees have access to the garage. Councilwoman Burns, help me.
Well, the incident came from first, let me do the garage part.
Yeah, do the
Uh,
garage part for those that don't know.
There's a only certain amount of parking spots in one garage door opener per parking spot. And you can't access it, if supposed through the elevator and through the
Right.
stairs, but no one's ever in that
No,
garage.
right.
I mean, it is no one. You cannot drive your car into that
garage.
But what it came at, because we have these cliques, and the cliques need to stop.
Are they council cliques?
They're council cliques.
Okay.
And these are the cliques who run to the mayor's office. And so in a meeting, two Black women had driven. You can see them driving and coming in. We were over at the county building. 3 of the council members were outside talking and didn't notice the 2 women, and they video recorded them. Then Councilwoman Priestley jumped out her car afterwards and was very disagreeable and rude. And Gina Luster has stated to her, I voted for you, I supported you. But what they didn't like was they had been recorded. They were talking about other council members, talking about things in a racial way. And so you had the 3 of them doing that. And when they got
janky, aren't they? They're janky.
So
I'm sorry.
Not the janky video. As a whole nother thing. So after that, I think that the article had to come out to get off of the Johnny Peters, because no one
called him Johnny Peters. I thought it was Johnny Cole.
That's one. He has several aliases. And I think that was to try to get, because no one likes a sexual predator. No one likes a child sexual predator and then no one likes a child sexual predator with HIV. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Black, white, Hispanic, Latino, it doesn't matter. Nobody likes a child sexual predator.
Oh, I have a question for you. Okay, so Jackie said, where do people with disabilities park at the Dome? Is there handicap parking there? Does anyone know?
It must be Jackie Barnes. She has her dog. Is that Jackie Barnes?
Yes.
Okay, and she has her dog.
There should be some handicap back there, but there should be a lot of things.
It should be at the front. We would have to have that behind the Dome.
Right.
So probably those, and it is in the front. When you pull in, it's the ones right by the grass.
I was going to say there's some handicap
by the
parking
grass
back
yes.
there. So you should be able to access that.
It is a ways to walk though. To get into the Dome from there. So it's not a close proximity.
I'm looking Kevin said he changed his name in court. Well, you said Peters. I said, okay.
And he has other aliases. Well, what I want to know is what's in that phone that Sheriff Swanson has. I want to know what's in that phone and the communications, the text messaging, the videos, the hidden files that the forensic team was able to get into, to see, interview. Who was he talking to?
And you know what? We need to say thank you to him.
Yes.
For exposing this to the sheriff, because there are a whole lot of things that need to get exposed, and it's finally starting to happen.
To trickle out.
And like I said, it's sad that we have to have outside media come in and help us tell the truth about what's going on in Flint. And we have to have people like you that aren't scared to tell the truth in front of cameras and any place else. And talk to the people about what's really going on, because one of the things we know is an uninformed, misinformed community that's dangerous to ourselves. And when you talk about a predator, I think about, so you don't care about not only people but our kids, because we talk about they're our most precious, valuable resource. They're our future. But it's okay that we haven't had the lead service lines replaced. It's okay that they've been damaged and poisoned by water, and we know the cognitive implications that has. We know that we've had their caretakers, some of them, lose their lives. We've had a fire cover up where, again, we lost two young boys whose lives did not have to be taken that way. And now we have a sexual predator. So do you care about our kids?
Do you care about our community?
Do you care about us?
You care about our community? Do you care? Do you love Flint like you say you love Flint? It's made me cautious with some of
That
these
that
people.
was a
And
pregnant pause
right,
right there, wasn't it?
if a politician has a Jesus hat on and a cross on their lapel, I'm
No, you
suspect at this
didn't.
point. Yes, I
No,
am.
you didn't.
If that's just because you should be able to convey your message. It's something behind, and it's very dark. It's a very dark thing. And when I look at all the things that have happened, the lack of judgment and discernment, it bothers me. It bothers me because if you choose Flint, if you love Flint, you choose Flint. Then you're choosing the people. You choosing to
You're
make it
right,
better,
Philip Lee.
and you can start anywhere to make Flint better.
Hmm.
Yeah, you
There's
any
so many
there's
places to start. I mean, you
so
had
many.
ARPA funds, and the city is just as dirty as all. There's blight all over the
Yeah,
place. That money could have been used for that. It could have been used to help people with their homes. That was one of the things we talked about. Is all these people with
blue
tarps on their
tarps.
roofs, their
Yeah,
the janky sidewalks.
yeah.
You want me to stop saying that? Janky.
No, because when you say that, I think of the song, and it's
I mean, there were
I
so
couldn't
many
believe. Yeah,
ways to help people.
and there isn't. That's why people need to
In-home
come to that.
plumbing,
We
people
all
need
need that.
in-home
Yeah,
plumbing fixtures and appliances. We want clean water.
and
We
that's why.
deserve a basic human right.
And you're correct. And that's why people need to come to this meeting this Saturday at the Dome
Saturday.
at 12 noon.
Mhm.
You need to come, tell a friend, send out your contact. If you want to do something, contact people and let them know to be there. Your voice
Well,
matters.
so will we have enough council members there? Will there
We
be
don't
a
we won't be
quorum?
taking action.
Okay.
And
So you
so
don't have to have a
we don't
quorum.
have to have
Okay.
a
This
correct.
is informational.
This is it's information. If they do show up, then that's great.
Mhm.
So then if they do show up, and if we want to put a motion on the floor to do something, which every one of them should be there.
They should.
I mean, these council people have this. We
Oh,
talk
you
about
have
a bubble.
something?
It's at behind City Hall. It's in the Dome at 12 o'clock. You need to be there because this is our money. This is the residents' money.
No,
This
it's
is not.
It's to pay some committees and it's to
Well, the
it's
501c3s is the new hookups because Johnny Cole had a 50 has a
okay.
501c3. He has a 501c3. He didn't get out of prison. Coats for kids. Right. And he had a 501c3. And I believe he submitted money to get ARPA funds. So people better show up because this is a hookup that people are doing. It's to me, it's criminal. That's the new hustle. Get a 501c3.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the kickbacks on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
I give you that, you got to give me this.
Right.
So I'm looking at these very sketchy and skeptical. I'm not happy with the process, but residents got to come out. If I don't know the person that I'm choosing to pick, to go over these, approve or not approve, and I've never met them, and they may be a perfectly lovely person, but that should be according to our charter, multi-member bodies are picked. That's our decision. I want someone that's trustworthy. Tanya Burns I ain't never been to jail. I don't have no criminal record. Until God be the glory, I ain't never had a ticket, a speeding ticket.
Wow.
That was God covering me on that. So when we talk about the process with ARPA,
right,
then I have a problem because this
public
money
safety issue. I was on my ARPA list,
yeah.
and we talk about public safety, and I'm talking about
Well,
fire and police, and we couldn't do any. Okay,
yeah, we still have no public safety plan. We
now
you've
been
I've been
for that since before you got in office.
Before I got in office,
you said we need a public safety plan.
We need one because we know where the issues are, and how do we bring everything together, and how do we
see what else some investigative journalists said. Let me go back to that article. Let me find out what else. I keep saying investigative. I put the emphasis on investigative. People that research.
And that's the difference. Just like we talk about journalists who actually dig in stories. Ronnie Dahl with ABC 12 is a great reporter, journalist, and she covers story, and she's a paper chaser, so that everything she does, she verifies. He's trying to get rid of her.
Well, of course,
yeah, he's got a problem with her
because that's what he did.
Mayor
with
Neely
other,
does, and he actually,
reporters.
and he sent a.
I thought they took an.
It was
oath.
funny. It was funny. He was going after me.
Had an oath or something to bring you the real news. There's something that they live by. They're supposed to.
Correct. With the journalism integrity.
Exactly.
And so when we look at journalists who do a great job, I appreciate a good story. If Tanya Burns
Well,
robbed a bank, say Tanya Burns robbed the bank. Tell the
oh,
truth, but that'll be
Tanya,
on
that
the
would be on the front page over and over and over. And if they found out it was Tasha Burns and not Tanya Burns, it'd be
right.
on
It
the
was
back page.
right.
Because here's what this journalist said, Carrie Cochran
Mhm.
said, we'll be following this story. That's how this article ends. If you all haven't seen it, it's on Scripps News, SCRIPPS News. They have done this story. They're coming back.
They're coming
They're
back.
coming back. Let me look and see. Mickey thinks I got these great eyes. I told him when I have my, he might have to read it to me. Yeah, because now I can't even get.
From this lunatic that came in, Councilwoman Barnes, where you mentioned that press release, is that creating a hostile work environment?
Say that again.
Say that again.
Councilwoman Burns, why were you mentioning that press release, and how do you feel about it? Does it create a hostile work environment for you?
Well, I work at
it's already a hostile work environment.
Yeah, and I always tell you, because you're a doctor. And everybody knows the next day after council meetings, I feel like I have PTSD, because literally it's like you at war to do what's right. And simple things like changing the library name yesterday. Councilman Priestley said she's not in agreement with it. She was talking about that. Okay, but it's being changed to a Black woman's name. What is your issue with changing the library name? And so we talk, it's like everything you have to fight. The House of Esther. They didn't support the House of Esther. We love babies, but we don't support the House of Esther. I don't have babies. When we look at the things, and then somebody saying, Councilman Liddell Lewis told Councilman Mays, your mama. She cussed out Pastor Thompson not once but twice, calling them kind of MFs and all sorts of other words. So when we talk about stress in there, I had Councilwoman Eva Worthing stand up and invite me over for a fight, wanted to, altercation. She wanted to entice me to fight her.
And Gloria Coles, for those that I knew her, she and my mother were friends, but she was the first Black female director of the Flint Public Library, the first ever. And we got a problem with
that
acknowledging and honoring
that you can't receive something in, and I'm like, I had to walk away. I had my niece with me.
Oh yeah, how did she like the meeting?
When she got to her great grandma's house, she said, "Oh, I got the tea."
It's a whole lot of tea there.
And it reminded me of Winters with the tea, because she's like, "Ooh, I got the tea," because when kids look at government, and how we function, and they look at as adults, and some of the things that they say, okay, well, they're getting. She couldn't believe Councilwoman Lewis said, "Yo, mama."
I want to say what was a 9-year-old's perspective of that?
She was like, "Aunt Tanya, did she really say that?"
So a 9-year-old knows that's wrong.
She said, "Aunt Tanya, why did she do that?" Aunt Tanya. I said, "We'll talk about it, London."
And the same reason she wanted the council to vote for somebody else as the first Black classroom teacher in the city of Flint, when everybody knows it was my mother. The same lady that would try to change history and take down a Black woman. That's why.
I think there must be
Liddell Lewis.
And I think there may be some self-hate there. When you have a ward, if my ward, you represent everybody, the city, but her ward is 91% or 92% African American. So she has to address the needs.
Is that St. Mark? Is that in her ward?
St. Mark's is in her ward, who Pastor Thompson, and let me apologize to Pastor Thompson again for the second time. I am sorry that one of my colleagues has cussed you out again for the second time and was disrespectful, because you are a faithful servant. You are an ordained minister, and I appreciate what you do for the community with the mental health services, with giving food,
we're not gonna let
the
that
clothing
go.
closet.
That is not
because
going away.
and she has
and it
to do it twice. Something is wrong with her. I mean, if I was out here cussing out pastors,
and then you say to your other colleague, your mama.
She did say your mama. And my niece was like, Aunt Tanya.
And that's not the example.
But they want decorum.
Right. They want decorum.
Yeah.
But that's not the example that we are supposed to be setting for our young people.
No.
And that is not how elected officials are supposed to be acting.
She should be setting an example for conduct. And she's what she is, but it's a bad one. But I mean, but that's not that. She went to come after me after one meeting, charging. And the police officer had to give her several directives to stop, be quiet. I
Well,
told you, close your mouth. Because she kept coming towards me.
water. Ooh.
And so when we talk about conduct,
Mhm.
something's wrong. There are some issues there. And I have January 23rd, I sent the council president, Allie Herkenroder, an email. I've asked her, I quit counting how many times. Look, I need to speak with you because we need to talk about how do we fix this. There's a lot that's going on. She has not yet responded to a date and has
That's why.
avoided me.
That's
And
why I
she
have
is
to call you
as the council president.
That's why I have to.
So
call
when they
you.
come, when she comes, right, and my thing is, you're going to have a serious altercation if you don't get it
if you
under
don't
control.
exactly.
What is your mission for
Exactly.
this council?
What is the
What is your
mission?
objective? What is your goal for this council? Because that's for the city. If you don't have a vision and she hasn't given one yet, then she needs to be replaced. You wanted that position, you have it. Her absenteeism is high as one of her other
I was gonna
colleagues
say
now.
she hasn't got. Has she gotten to match Eva yet?
No, I don't think anybody can at that point. But
Okay.
something's wrong. She's got to be looking for solutions. We miss certain training and things. She's disconnected from the council.
She's disconnected from this community. Yes. We have. we. This is live. This is live. So
Yeah, I know. My niece is in intensive care
Mhm.
at Hurley Hospital, and she's 6. And so I don't always put my business out there because I don't like
Mhm.
everybody praying for her because I don't know where some of them spirits come from.
That's
And she came. They're supposed to be back in North Carolina. Her mother is a post lady and works at U.S. Postal Service, and so Dr. Green is going to take my. I have always bought my little nieces the books, and Dr. Green is taking her Hey Pretty Girl, Hey Girl books over there to see her, to cheer. And then when I went and told her that she was going to come, she was just so excited.
Mm-hmm. Well, you need to take care of that.
Yes.
You need to take care of that because you know what? Really, we shouldn't even be here having to have this conversation. But breaking news comes from 810 News Media,
and they stand.
And that's and I know our director here, Mickey.
And I'm sorry,
Thank
I got like
you.
a million.
No, I'm just saying, our director. We appreciate you having this platform because we wouldn't know a whole lot of things going on in the city of Flint without this, this 810 News Media platform. Because we shouldn't be here today having a conversation about pipes not being finished. And it's almost, we've passed year 9. They've been there this is the 4th year. And it took a Scripps News. It takes people like Carrie. It takes people from outside coming in to tell us what is going on in our city. And so we need to thank them. And I want people to go and read that article if you haven't read it.
And the video's on YouTube. And it's
right.
on my
There's
page.
There's a video with this as well. You all need to see it.
You do.
Hey, can we put it on our page? Just the video? I know we have. Well, the article is on the page, isn't it? It's on 810 as well. I wonder if we could just take that video out, but you can just click on it, can't you? And see it. And you all need to.
It's a good article because people here, it's like we had
It's
Legionnaires
research, right.
disease or Legionella, and we passed out flyers,
right,
because they told the one lady on Concord Street in the 2900 block to not tell anyone. And here it is. She had her levels were testing at 0 for chloride residuals last year. And her next door neighbor actually caught Legionella. She had Legionella.
I was with you. We were going door to door over
we were
there in
doing
your
door to
ward.
door.
But you know what was disturbing to me was when we had the meeting with the EPA
The
over
dog
there in
store.
your ward. And I kept saying, where's the media?
Yeah.
Where's the media? No media there. And when they finally come, we think the story will be told.
We're like, yeah.
And for some reason, the EPA person was a distraction. And so I said, you know what, you guys, this is fake. Let's go. And we go out there, and the media lady is outside. And what did she tell you? Because you asked her, "Are you going to cover this story?" What did she tell you?
She said that they put a story of a dog over the people of the city of Flint.
Over, okay,
A dog. The dog story
was more
was going
important than the lives of the
than the
people.
lives
And I
of
am
the
a pet
Legionnaires.
person,
Yeah.
but over the lives of the
lives.
people.
I mean, so when we talk about how the news is suppressed, that's
That's a
some
problem.
where people should have. It wasn't our job to knock on people's doors and to create a flyer
No,
to say because some people have compromised immune systems,
exactly.
and they're getting treatment. Some are that's an older community over there that have been there. They're like, I'm not moving, and to have water legion, everyone's not going to recover for that, or the length of time that it would take them to recover.
Mhm.
So to have the news, which we thought they would cover, and the dog story to take over, that was disappointing. And I don't know, what do we have to be outraged? How outraged? People should be outraged. They should be angry.
They should.
They should be.
We have every right to be angry. That's for sure. Okay, you know what? Okay, I was embarrassed. Oh, I'm gonna read this. Can I read this? Because this is something that happened yesterday. And it says, can I? Okay, this is Wintus. She said, I was embarrassed. Mrs. Stanley was down there last night. How did you feel about that? She's an icon and did not understand why the meeting was running amok. Because it is running amok. And she knows how those meetings go because she's got a lot of history because she was the first lady of this city for years and years and years because her husband is Woodrow Stanley. And you know why I'm saying these names? Because you're like, everybody knows who that is. They got two daughters, Heather and Jasmine, who lives in this community that
she did
that
do it.
Eva.
She did assault her. That's an assault. And I saw it. And it was 2 weeks before
decorum.
Correct. But they didn't take care of that. But Mrs. Stanley, who is a very elegant and very poised, classy, and poised lady, was there, and the look across her face was disbelief.
She couldn't believe
disbelief because you get it got to the point when she got up to the point like, look, we've been waiting here, and two council members got up and broke the quorum.
Well, if councilwoman walk out on mothers who have lost their kids, they're gonna walk out on anybody. If you will walk out on a mother whose two sons have been burned in a fire, have died in a fire, a mother who lost her son in a police chase that we were said we don't have. If you will walk out, if you don't have a heart, if you don't have a heart,
it was a cold moment.
Then they're gonna walk out on her. They're gonna walk out on a whole lot of other people too, as they're gonna cuss out pastors and say your mama and jump up over you and tell you to come on. That's what's going. I mean, really, and that spills over to a school board that will call a black male a boy and a toddler. It reminds me of when I was in office and I was called a little girl, and we've allowed them to get away with these kinds of things, and it needs to stop.
It has to stop. When you want respect, but they don't give respect,
right?
And
well, they give it to each. No, they give it to
each
certain
other.
people.
But then they lie, and they are habitual and pathological liars. I was disappointed that at that meeting that you had three educated black women step to the podium with doctorate degrees, PhDs, masters, and they said a councilwoman, Eva Worthing, said she felt threatened. And they kept getting out their seat coming towards her. That was a lie. It was a LIE, a big lie. They did not do that. We have to quit perpetrating false narratives. She keeps saying I'm a bully.
They said they can't hear me as loud as I'm talking. No, I'm reading this. She said she couldn't hear me. Candace says she couldn't hear me well.
Well, do a test and tell me, give some thumbs up.
You hear me fine? Okay, but Brian said Tonya Burns. I don't know what that little thing is, but he said, "Hope you have an amazing rest of your Thursday."
Well, I don't know if it's. I have a meeting this evening. I'm taking my niece with me because I'm on aunt duty, and I'm going to hope that the people that are probably going to show up there cooperate, because Tonya Burns, I have zero cares at this point, and I don't want to. I've been very graceful. I promised my mother to control my temper and to remain calm during council meetings
Mhm.
as much as possible. But it became very frustrating when a councilwoman who said redlining, Eva Worthing stated redlining did not exist, and that she did not vote for the second ward's residents with Pump Station 5 to receive relief for raw sewage in their basement. And Councilwoman Lewis did not vote for her own ward to get relief with Pump Station 5.
Well,
That was unbelievable. How do you not vote for your own ward?
Self-hate.
I
just
can't
gonna
understand
say,
that.
that's all I can
Yeah.
attribute it to. And I hope. Do we have any idea when Scripps is coming back?
I got to call her back. My phones.
Okay.
I'm so behind on
Because
I still have to call
the
Jordan
night that
Sheraton back.
that the
Sheraton.
article came out. I talked with her that night,
Mhm.
and she said, we're not going away. This
She's
story
not.
is not going to die. Flint is going to stay in the news. We are going to tell the truth. If other news outlets aren't going to do it, we're going to help you all get your story out. I'm going to finish it like we started. We said Flint deserves to be in the national spotlight. This is unacceptable that our water,
It is.
that we still don't have access to clean water.
But what she's discovered too,
It's a crime.
she said it's much more than just the pipes and getting the lead out. I think there's some corruption that's there.
You think?
I mean, there's something, so when she sent me this story and she was
this
here,
is like this is gonna be a continuing saga.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you because you have been busy. And like I said, I've seen you all day today.
I know.
I have to go to meetings to see her, but it's been worth it. It's been worth it. It's been good busy because you've been out there, you've been in the community, you've been speaking up and speaking out, and we need more people in leadership roles, whether they're elected, because there are other leadership roles. We need to be at tables, and we need people like
people
you that
care.
aren't scared. That we need people that care. I was first,
but I need the community to have my back.
I know.
I need the Flint residents to have my back.
And we've been at a meeting about that today as well. So we're coming.
Because I'm going to fight for the people like
coming.
you. And I'm going to show up for you. I'm going to show up for the residents. I'm going to show up for what's right, what's good to make us whole.
And you know what? I'm so glad I got some good people helping me. Okay, Philip, please, somebody say something about the main water and service lines, please.
The main, what is this question? Please, somebody say something about
the
water mains. Oh, the water. Is she talking about the water mains?
Okay, say it before because we have to go. What happened on Court Street the other day? It was blocked off
again.
Again,
that would be like number 19 leaks that they've had, and that's new.
That's new.
You know,
Councilwoman Burns told me I had lakefront property because I stayed off of Court Street because it's always water.
I did tell you that.
You got lakefront
property.
But
what you complaining about?
We're going to answer Philip's question before we go.
Okay, he wants to know about the water mains. We don't know how much money we got to do anything, to be honest. We could not get our CFO to give us a direct answer. First, they don't know how many service lines need to still be replaced. That's what they claim. They don't know how many have been replaced.
Every Monday,
all they have to do is go to the state of Michigan to get it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to.
It's not my job. I'm not going to,
No, that's the mayor's office.
That's
should
correct.
Be putting that out. And every Monday before 12
you had it, and
noon,
it was updated.
And in fact, that's okay. See,
you
know
had
what?
It out.
It was so that was one of the questions, Philip. We're supposed to be done, but I'm going to answer this because that was one of the questions that the Scripps reporter asked me about was how do people know where we are? And I said, I don't know how they know where we are because I said we would do it every Monday.
Right.
You could hear Jamaica still cringes because she said if we didn't have it done by noon, I was on them. Mm-hmm. And so it was out by noon. We would put a press release out. It was on the website. We'd have it on the billboard downtown. We put it out. We were always talking about it. She said she was able to go back to the city website. She had to go to the time machine. The Wayback Machine. She had to go to the Wayback Machine to find it. She said, but you're absolutely, because I was telling the truth. Yeah, right. We put it out every Monday. She said, I saw that, but we don't see anything. And
Well,
that was the
there's no
responsibility. That's
transparency.
the responsibility of the mayor's office.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that.
There's no transparency. And that's where the people have to say, the pipes aren't fixed. I mean, if we're looking at what is the mayor's report card, in each department, and we need to be grading the mayor on the report card. And that to me is something that's serious. I mean, I will give that 1 year for COVID.
Right.
But after that, I mean, that's an
It doesn't
outside
take that
job.
long to
And
fix.
not when W.T. Stevens was sitting on the shelf wanting and needing work, and you're using them now.
And people are
You could have been
sitting at
using
home
them then.
needing
Exactly.
clean water. Could
Exactly.
have been this could have been done. It should have been done, and we shouldn't even be here today having this conversation. I
No.
want to get to when do we get to ever celebrate? We finally got all the lead service lines replaced. Oh, okay. So you know what? You're gonna be back. She'll be back.
Well, this was good. It's kind of like it was good. We covered a lot in a short amount of time, but the residents have got to show up, please, this Saturday at 12 noon, because those millions of dollars, if you know someone, it doesn't have to be you that may need a roof or need a furnace or need some window, need something. If, show up, because if we don't show up, we're giving away.
Yes.
It's like that 94 million was a winning lottery ticket with the Super Bowl, and you're not going to collect on it. Show up at City Hall. Make sure you're
giving your money away.
Right. Exactly. So this was good.
Thank you, because I know you took time out of your very busy schedule to come and talk to the people. I know you're going to be talking to the people again this weekend.
And then I didn't like this evening. I've got a meeting. Because I care. I care about my community,
and that's what we need: people that care. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, 810 News Media. Mickey, appreciate you so much. And we'll see you soon.